Oh, hello, hello. So, to everyone, we met a while back during the Jay Shetty coaching program.
That is correct.
And from the minute we met, we just jumped into deep conversation about life, death, and everything in between.
That was a bizarre moment. I have not expected at all. Yeah, and we did. I mean, that was just so crazy how it happened, right? We were in a room with another person, and he left to go to the bathroom, and we were like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so what led you to the Jay Shetty thingy?
To the Jay Shetty school. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
How did it
Um,
all happen?
oh my gosh. Uh, um, can you hear me well though? Let me just check
I
this. You can
I
hear me
can
well?
hear you
Okay.
loud and clear. It's perfect.
Okay. All right. It's not too
Crisp.
loud.
It's beautiful.
Okay. I'm wearing my daughter's AirPods. I don't usually wear them, so because there was a lot of noise in the house. So, yes. Good question. What led me to Jay Shetty? I want to say that a lot of like mysterious things were happening in my life, just like things would show up in my life all of a sudden, or you sometimes just get an inkling for something that all of a sudden shows up in your life. And life coaching, life coaching was something that I watched from like a sideline. My friend was talking about life coaching, and she's in very much into nutrition. And I thought, great, well, that's amazing because I was doing something completely different at the time. And then there was a huge transition in my life that happened. I came back to Poland because I had lived in the US prior to that, and I went back to teaching actually. And then I knew that I wanted to do something much more than that. I mean, teaching is my passion. Um, Being of service to people is my passion too. And life coaching just felt like it was gonna be just a better container for
Mhm.
uh, you know, combining the two and much more, actually. So I actually, prior to joining Jay Shetty School, I had been following him, listening to his podcast, and I was really inspired by his messages. He seemed very down to earth. And I found out that he's got a life coaching school, and I just jumped in. Like, I had no idea. I filled out an application, and um, I think I admitted right away, which completely like set me off. I'm like, what? I'm not ready because it was still May, so it was a school year, and I'm like, give me a couple months, and then I'll say yes, yeah. And then again, something happened in my life, and I was so ready to join that the life coaching school, and yeah, and that's how I became, a life coach too. On top of other things that I'm doing in my life.
So, how the life coaching fits into everything?
Oh my gosh. This is, I think, the most challenging thing for me right now because, uh, I'm just going to back up a little bit because uh, straight out of high school, I went to, not straight out of, because, plans changed, of course. Nothing in my life, like nothing happens as planned. So I ended up going to a teacher's training college, and I studied English to teach English as a second language. So I um, I have a degree in teaching, right? Then I moved to the US. I lived there for 20 years. I had kids. I was married, then I wasn't married. And uh, during that time, I very much knew that I needed to have a career. When you're an immigrant, you don't necessarily do things that you want to do. You do odd jobs and things that are there available for you. But I went back to school. I actually got a nursing degree, my BSN. And what was the question? I'm sorry.
Like, how did the Jay Shetty School happen? Like, how did you everything all together? Like your life, which led
Yeah,
you to who you are today. Like, how
yeah.
those
Okay,
things happened.
okay. Yes. So as you can see, I've been like, I'm drawn into service to people, right? Like it just happened in my life that I was a teacher, then I was a nurse. When I was doing my odd jobs in the US, I worked in the service, in the consumer department where I worked as a waitress. Um, I was in a service call center. Um, what else? And then so then I did the nursing program, and that's a huge service, right, to
Mhm.
the people, and you see them in their most vulnerable moments. This is, I don't think they can get closer to a person when they're sick, when they're after a surgery, when they are actually having a CPR done, and you care for them afterwards. So you're right there with them, and I honestly, I love that. I love doing that. There was a part that I wasn't crazy about. I mean, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and there's a lot of, other parts of your job that you have to do, which are not always that fun, that you don't think about when you actually go for it. So I switched jobs, and I started working in a community center where I was a care coordinator for pediatrics. So I worked with, again, the school system and the doctors. So I was connecting the two. We were having meetings, and that job I liked much more because it wasn't the way I shaped all of that in my mind was that I wasn't necessarily responsible for someone's life in a sense that I'm responsible for them. Okay, they might die. I don't want to be responsible in that, as much. So this was a little easier. I was still taking care of people, helping, families and schools and doctors. Everybody was super happy with the position that I was filling in. Um, and then, yeah, like I said before, I think this the life coaching just really brings it all together, brings that I want to call them my gifts, my life purpose together, sort of, and this is just, again, just a part of my life right now. Who knows where it's gonna bring me, where I'm gonna go with it, right? Um, but yeah, what I'm trying to, I guess, do right now with my coaching is, I, what I'm struggling with, and I don't know if you had that too, is like, because you are a life coach as well, but like, how do you define a niche, right? Some people just like, they know straight away what they want to do, but I'm just like, I want to do everything. I want to help people with all these different things because I see that there's just so much that we suffer with, right? That we can change, that we can help people with. So my thing is, I think, similar to yours, empowerment. Where is my power in life? Also, being in your wholeness, knowing that you're whole, that you're seen, that you're understood, and that you have joy in your life, right? And where does it all come from? It comes from the balance of your body, your mind, and the soul, right? Because they're not separate. It's one thing, and this is what I've seen, especially in nursing, um, where we think that once we fix our body, we're going to be fine. Where often things that happen to us, that we're sick because of, that is because there's something wrong with our mind, right? There's Maybe there's some trauma. Maybe there's, I mean, a lot of different things. You probably can tell me more about that. I mean, and we've had conversations about that many, many times. Um, uh, about, what is just not okay right now. And maybe you've always been. I don't know. I didn't live 200 years ago, but it's just, there's a lot. There's a lot we can change and update and adjust and realign, right?
And I really believe that service, which you mentioned, is a very eye-opening process, because I would love to learn more what was your experience with it, but I feel like there is this saying that you cannot, if you're compassionate towards others, but you're not compassionate towards yourself, it's merely people pleasing. And when
Mm,
we are in service, we are able to build the empathy and the compassion towards others, because as you beautifully said, you're seeing these people in the most vulnerable places. And how it all ties with understanding yourself, like, and authenticity at the end, like how,
mhm.
because I believe that it's all intertwined. But how do you see this journey?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think, I think for me, it's just so natural. Like, I don't see myself honestly doing anything else other than just being of service because what brings me joy, right? That's what fills me. That's what brings just meaning to my life, you know? So yeah, being with the kids right now, teaching them, being with my patients,
Mm.
years ago, that was just a joy and pleasure. And like, I, um, I really thank them, I was grateful that I was able to take care of them as much as they were grateful, sometimes not so much, but I was, I was glad to be there for them. It wasn't about me, and it wasn't selflessness. It's just something that some people have that it just fills your heart, and brings you joy at the end of the day. Uh, and I think I actually read that somewhere because I was investigating, like the service to others and um, how it can actually be selfish, right? You're
Mhm.
doing it for yourself. And I am doing it for myself because I want to feel good about myself. And if I feel good about myself, I can give more, of what I have. And we all have different gifts. We all have different things to share with the world. So why not be selfish and use that towards service to others because it's needed too, like other, so many other things in life. Um, so yeah, so I continue that journey and I continue to follow that purpose, that calling, that inner knowing, I guess, that this is like I can't imagine myself, um, I don't know, being a truck driver. Some people absolutely love it. I'm like, no, like this is just not for me, and that's
Yeah.
okay, you know. So, yeah, I mean, whatever you're doing is such a huge service to the individual, but also the whole, So, how do you see that? How do you see service?
It's in the back of my mind, I'm having this endless conversations of ours about you seeking your purpose, and now you're describing it in such a beautiful way. My heart just, is singing with joy. Like, no, you're just describing your purpose, and you've been looking for it for so long, and it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, and as you describe, I believe deeply that every single person's got their purpose. Um, And as a lot, and it's our purpose to find this purpose, to really embody it and live through it. And the difference for me, especially when it comes to service, is the aspect of expectations.
Mm.
Because service is without expectations. Like it's is this healthy selfishness that I'm doing it because I love it
Right.
wholeheartedly. But additionally to that, I'm not expecting anything in return. And then for me, this is like proper
Yeah.
service.
Right. Right. Uh, yeah, I'm just trying to think about that, what you just said. Like, you're not expecting anything in return because you don't. Just the fact that you're there for someone, right? Sharing whatever you have, like just being with someone, sometimes is just enough. That that holding space, that the presence that you offer to them, you know. Um, and again, like there's different settings. Like I'm in the classroom, and I'm offering something different than what I was offering when I was in the hospital, maybe. But maybe it's the same. Who knows? I don't know. You know. Um, it feels the same for me though. Like, it still like fills me, and brings me joy, and I want to continue and do it again and again. Like I think I've told you, like, being in a classroom is not always easy. Like it's just draining, and like you have to be present all the time, and sometimes it's frustrating, and it's like, but no, I'm ready for the next class. I'm not ready for the next day. I'm ready, to do it all over again. And I see that with other teachers too. I'm like, I think I told them once in the break room that, like it's like with, because it's mostly women, it's like, I think the 95% is women that teach. I told them, listen, this is just like labor. Like you go through labor, you have one kid, there's so much pain, and you do it again. You have another kid and another one, right? This is what we do to ourselves over and over again. Because there's something about it, right? There's something that's being released in our bodies. I don't know if it's hormones or something that just makes you feel good about yourself, and what you're doing.
It's almost like you're just living. You
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it several times, but sometimes I feel like as humans we forgot what does it mean to be human. That in, we are living through the lenses of external experiences instead of feeling what the life brings to us through us. And this moment of self-awareness when you're realizing that it is hard. Of course it's hard. And the stories that you're sometimes telling me, I'm like, how on earth it's even possible? Like, wow. But at the same time, you're so self-aware that you want to experience that because it feels your soul, your purpose. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I think you raise a very good point, which is that self-awareness, right? So when you start working on yourself, once you start being aware of things in life, try to understand what life is about. Maybe, I don't know if I understand it, but I definitely can feel it better than I did before, right? So, um, the things that sometimes happen, and I think what you're talking about is the classroom. It almost feels like some people, if they're not self-aware, I would say, and I can imagine because I've heard that from others, it's like torture. It's like you feel like you're being tortured by others, right? And because the work that I've done, I am able to, hmm, just really just let it go through me, experience it, be curious about it, like really not take any of it personally, um, and really learn from every child, every lesson, uh, you know? So it's a great experience. It's like very condensed,
Mm.
it's because you have so many kids every day. And you really have to be able to do a lot of like work on yourself, and self-reflection I think is very important, right? Which is just having tools, again, having tools to be able to do that, being aware that there's something going on, and I want to work on that. I don't want it to I don't want to hold a wall against it, right? I don't want to suppress it. I want to actually feel what's going on. I want to know what's happening.
It's you want to know what is happening, because you also know from your own experience that if you block it, it's gonna come back and just gonna kick you in the ass. Sooner or later,
Yeah,
it's
there you
gonna
go.
come back. But it's so beautiful because I'm listening to you and I can apply it, like copy paste it to what I'm doing in
Mm,
terms of, yes, people who are building startups in general are considered to some kind of delusional. But this is through me is my third startup. If there is anything that I've learned, is that in my previous attempts, I didn't have the self-awareness which is required to do that. Because exactly as you described, like you've got so many children and they're changing, and every single one of them is triggering you to some extent, is showing you something different, and is teaching you something. So either there's this approach of, I'm going to control all of them and I'm going to control my external environment, which is not possible, or we're going to develop tools which are going to help us manage ourselves. And then everything, drama, human being, whatever is coming up, you take it as a gift, because it's
yeah,
the opportunity for you to see something else inside of you. And it's a this mindset shift. I believe it's necessary for everyone, because it's intertwines with knowing yourself and having this curiosity that I want to learn who I am.
yeah,
But it's not easy. And from one hand, we do have the tools, but my current understanding and experience, so please tell me what yours is. But mine is that it's all goes back to a decision. It's a decision if what I'm doing in this very moment comes from fear or love. And if it comes from fear, I want to control everything because I'm fearful. But when it comes from love, I want to experience myself through the experiences that are being given to me.
yeah, yeah. Yes. And I think you're actually, when you talk about this choice that you're consciously, for example, you're making, right? I think this is something advanced because uh, it takes years and years and years and years of practice and curiosity, like you said, and awareness of who you are, right? Of who someone else might be, and just that space in between, and then making that decision. I'm gonna choose love right now, not fear, right? So it takes so much of work to get to that point, right? To see that, to have that space. Like I think Eckhart Tolle talks about it, um, where he talks about, and in the beginning when I was listening to his teachings, I completely had no idea what he was talking about, and I kept listening, and I'm like, I don't get this guy, but I love listening to him because his presence is so big and there's something magical about him. So I think I listened to a book by Michael Singer. I don't know if you know him. It's The Untethered Soul.
Yeah.
Um, and I listened to the book. I'm re-listening it to right now. So I just like think about who I was, like 4 years ago. Was it 4 years ago? Yeah, it was 4 years ago when I first listened to it. Uh, I'm like, oh my God, this is like amazing. Like, so why does nobody teach us about this in school?
Yeah.
Hello, right?
Definitely.
So then I'm like, okay, I think I get Eckhart Tolle right now. Like, so I went back and I listened. I'm like, yeah, I understand a little more about what he's saying. So anyway, but he talks about this space, this like the time slows down where you actually can make that decision about your reaction to that situation or no reaction, right? You just open your heart and you're like, yeah, this is beautiful. I'm excited about this experience, What can I what how do I see it, I don't have to be upset if I don't want to. I can. I mean, it's your choice, of course, always, right? But
Definitely.
but even Michael Singer says like, why not choose to live happy all the time? All the time, no matter what happens, you
Yeah.
know? You choose. It's your decision. Everything in life is your decision. So, um, yeah, I don't know what we were talking about. I'm gonna keep saying that because I keep forgetting things when
This
I
is and this
start
is
talking.
perfect. This
You
is
forget
perfect. This is
sometimes with
perfect.
the
But you
question.
mentioned something which I'm honestly struggling with right now. So if anyone's listening and have an idea how to solve this problem, reach out and let me know. Because I have a feeling that I've been living through those concepts for so long
Mm,
that they became my second nature. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who was using True Me, and he's like, what is on your website is a completely different thing than you are describing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I kind of speak this weird spiritual academic language, which is not really understandable by people. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make it simpler so people are actually going to be able to understand it. Because the concept is really like you got fear and you've got love.
mhm,
And that's
mhm,
it. And it's we there is I was talking to a wonderful therapist, psychologist, just a couple of weeks back, and she's mentioned, yeah, we went through this narrative of every single person should go through therapy, and
mm,
therapy is so brilliant and helpful, and it is, but it was taken to another perspective now, and everyone are looking for traumas and issues and
mm,
blaming parent and doing this and that. And at the end of the day, therapy is a great tool.
mm,
From the other perspective, its efficiency haven't increased in 40 years, but it's a great tool. But it's not necessary for everyone. But what is necessary to everyone is to learn how to get to know yourself
mm,
and how to realize that build this space between I'm running on autopilot and I need to do this, and that because it's expected from me versus what is that I'm feeling that's going to bring me joy. And I also understand how I'm aware of the fact how it can be misunderstood in terms
yeah,
of, oh, what brings me joy is drinking 5 beers per day.
yeah,
I mean, no, you're drinking beers because you are trying to run away from something and
mm,
numb the very deep pain which is inside of you, which is actually driven by fear. So you are running away from facing yourself
yeah,
because facing yourself is very difficult. And 2 weeks ago, we were talking with marvelous neuroscientist Natalia, and she explained so beautifully that human brains don't like to make decisions. So if I'm to make a decision about today, I'm gonna making my intention is gonna be love, and I'm even something's gonna be difficult, I'm gonna stand by it, and I'm gonna look myself in the eye, and I'm not gonna judge myself. I'm not gonna criticize myself. I'm gonna do my best to accept myself the way that I am. This is a humongous effort.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, no one is teaching us that.
No. No.
Through me, it's supposed to do that, but I still need to describe what is that I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, so if anyone's got any ideas, let us know.
I think it's complicated. It's complicated. Life is complicated, right? All of this is very complicated. And believe me, I, when I think about my life, when I think about people's lives, I mean, we're so different, right? That we have such different experiences that it's really hard to, there's no roadmap, really.
Is it then though?
I mean, for same one for everybody, right? I think, well, maybe, I don't know. I guess when I'm looking and I'm thinking about people's lives in general, it's like we are born, right? And we are just the purest thing ever. We are our authentic selves, you know? We are the gift of God. And something happens, right? Freaking life happens. Like we learn things from our parents. We learn things from other people. We start being afraid of things. So we learn different things by through the things that we hear, that we experience, right? And we become this person that we are, years later. So I think we learn a lot how to, you said, to choose between, love and fear. What is gonna, how am I gonna react to this situation? How am I gonna move forward? What am I gonna choose? This or that based on what? Love or fear, right? And I'm gonna say this because I just came to my mind, and I think I told you that before, is that I was in a lecture with two different groups of kids, different ages, right? The younger kids were, I think, up to age 10, and then 11 through, say, 14, right? So the younger kids, when they were asked what your dreams are, I mean, they were all like, me, this is my dream. I want to be this, a baker, this and that. And then the older kids, when they asked the same question, silence. No one said anything. And it could be either because of the peer pressure. They didn't want to sound foolish. That they didn't want anyone to laugh at them or make comments. Or maybe they didn't have dreams anymore.
Yeah. They were conditioned.
So what happens? Something happens, in that age where we lose that innocence, when we lose that childlike vitality,
Curiosity.
the curiosity, the different presence. Like we start to see the world differently a little bit. We see different things, right? And they start to affect us in a different way. And I was thinking about this today. It was like it's so easy to disconnect, right? Like I can say, I'm not going to engage with that person. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to react to this, or I'm going to react to this from fear, right? I'm going to get angry. It's so much harder to connect. To connect even with yourself. I mean, think about it. I can disconnect anytime. I mean, I choose not to anymore, but I was disconnected from myself for years. Why? Because of fear. Because of fear of judgment, of repercussion, of being vulnerable, of being seen. Like I was perfectly fine being closed off from people, and I was this ghost, but so it's then so much harder to connect with yourself, allow yourself to feel things, be honest with yourself, and trust yourself. I think that's so hard to trust
Those
yourself.
two, like those two, be honest with yourself and trust yourself. This is it. You don't need anything else in life.
Yeah, yeah.
If
But
you
how do you get there? How do you get to trust yourself, right? How do you get to be honest with yourself? It's so hard. I mean, I know how hard it is. Because I went through this. I went through all of that. Like, I thought I was honest. No shit. I was not honest.
yeah,
I was not honest with myself.
yeah,
I did not trust myself. There was I do realize that what actually got me through the life that I had was this like inner knowing that there's something more. Like, like there was this spark in me that there's a different life waiting for me somewhere, sometime. Uh, but the work that I had to do to get to the place where I am right now, and I couldn't be happier, honestly. And I can't wait to see where it's going to bring me, because I know there's more. Uh, it's just so much work, so much pain that I had to go through,
yeah.
to uncover the layers of me, not even, it's not me, actually. It wasn't me. It was just like the limiting beliefs, the um what else, the different experiences, the trauma, the everything. And it's so uncomfortable to be with, to sit with, that um it really takes a lot of courage and
Mm.
strength and compassion towards yourself, so much, which we don't want to give, yourself. Like, when I thought about being compassionate towards myself, I was like, what, me, what? I don't deserve that, probably, like, what does it even mean? I can be compassionate and empathetic towards other people because this is what I did in the hospital, all the time. I can give, I can give, I can give. I was the last person to be taken care of by myself, usually. Um, uh, so that, yeah, you just then forget yourself. You forget who you are. You forget what's important to you. You're just really disconnected, and find that connection with your essence, with your intuition, your heart, and, like you said, the trust, trusting yourself that you're right. Um, that's hard. That's hard. But when you find it, when you start trusting yourself, there's nothing better in life. That's where power comes from.
It's so true, and it's so 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 beautiful. And I know you know this story, but this September last year when they started the Kundalini Yoga's second level of teacher training, and it was about a conscious communication. And
Mm,
my entire intention for this course, and then the couple of months afterwards, was to rebuild the communication with myself, to relearn how to communicate with my true self. And the 3 months afterwards were like, it was a nightmare, because we we were doing for 120 days, we were doing a meditation about taking off the masks, and every layer of this onion which you were describing, like I was just realizing to which extent I was being dishonest towards my own self. And
mm,
it's those little things, like those really little things, like okay, so for 3 days I'm not gonna eat sugar. But then after a day and a half, like, that's fine. But this is
yeah.
your self-trust. It's being slowly
Mm,
depleted. The yeah, no one's gonna see it. Like no one's gonna know. You're gonna know. It's not about others.
yeah.
Literally, no one cares what you're gonna do and what's gonna happen to your life. Like, I mean, there are people. Oh no, I'm simplifying it, but in general, people care about themselves and how you're gonna make them feel. That's it. And
Yeah.
every time we're like, ah, no one's gonna know, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But this is this small moment when this, we can call it inner child, or we can call it your true self, however we want to call it. But it's just losing a little bit of trust towards yourself, because if you've done it once, there's a chance you're gonna do it twice. And we all know how difficult it is to rebuild trust towards others. And now it applies exactly the same way to ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, even worse, because when we are facing others, very often we are putting our best face in there. Like, okay, I'm gonna be a bit more patient with others. And there, in most cases, we have no patience towards ourselves.
Yeah.
We're just almost like vicious. And how many times I've heard someone saying, I mean, the narrative that we have in our own heads, some, and I know it from my own experience, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would never said those words to anyone else, like on a street or a friend or anyone who I know, because I was just being mean and vicious towards my own self. I just kept criticizing myself over and over and over again. And then it was actually during the Jay Shetty coaching course, which, I mean, this chatter just went silent, and it's been over 2 years now. It's just, silent, and I do not criticize myself anymore. But it's been such a relief, and it just feels so light, exactly as you mentioned. Like, this is self-trust. Like, if you
Yeah.
trust yourself, you're not going to be criticizing yourself, because you know
Yeah.
you did your best. And that's all the story. And even if you feel like, oh, I could have done better, then the next day you're gonna show up and you're gonna do better. But be compassionate and understanding. Like, it's it's so simple yet so difficult, exactly as you've been saying.
Yeah. 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 I'm so glad. I just want to acknowledge that that I'm so happy for you that the chatter stopped, because it's like you said, it's just, it can just get you insane, right? It's just like it's nonstop, and you can't control it. And this is what actually Micah Singo talks about in his book, that voice in your head that won't shut up. And we often, people are not even aware of it, that this is just a voice, and it's not you. It's just your mind. It's just these random freaking messages that you get, that they are. And I catch myself often just like walking around the streets, and then I'm like, oh, there's a rock, and oh, it's gray, oh, there's this, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I can see it, like I can see it, that's enough. Why do I have to like narrate everything
Yeah.
that what I'm seeing? Oh, this letter is crooked on the sign. Oh, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let's keep walking. Let's just keep breathing. I really try to come back to the breath, because I'm like, this is exhausting. So much energy is wasted on
That's the
this.
thing. Like, it's just so much energy. It's like having a, yeah, the monkey mind. It
Yeah,
just keeps
exactly.
going. It just keeps going. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there's
Yeah.
this marvelous, stunning best practice which always works. Count your steps. Like, starting with 5 inhales, 5 steps, five
Yeah.
steps, exhales, and just expand it. It's just solves all the problems.
Yes, 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 yes. So, um, like, I just wanna say how I absolutely admire breath work. I think this is the thing in life that we are not taught, yet we should all know how to use our breath for various things, right? And for me, the breath is just this mystical spirit that just can do so many different things for me
Yeah.
and for everybody. I mean, we just don't realize that, but It always just helps me come back to myself. It calms me down. It can bring me to different states of mind that are not possible through just regular breathing. It's just it's such a huge, should be a huge part of our daily maintenance, self-maintenance, really. Just like meditation. This is all of that feeds our soul, because this is how we can connect back to ourselves. And I know it's not easy. I mean, I remember starting meditation, it was just nothing like what it is right now, right? And it's still a practice. We're just practicing. Like it's you're never
Yes.
going to be perfect. There's no goal. Like it just gets better and better and better.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's setbacks. I mean, it's a spiral, obviously, but um there's different techniques. So throughout your life, maybe you're going to find different techniques, which is just so awesome that you can, get better and better at meditation. So this, just like I said, feeds your soul and your mind too, right? And it helps your body too to like relax,
Yeah.
to give it time to, um, I don't know, rest, I guess. Rest, revitalize. There's just so many different practices. I mean, there's just so many different things that we can do for our soul. And then, like I said, mind, right? And then your body. Like, I really think that we should all do more of what we love, to bring that joy into our lives, even if it's 5 minutes of, I don't know, drawing or playing the guitar or learning something new, a new skill, or dance. I mean, I love to dance. Like this just is like this one thing that I just feel so free doing it, and I'm just so happy, right? And I'm not a dancer per se, but it just makes me happy, so happy, you know? And I think we just don't realize how important those things are in daily practice, right? This consistency is very important. Like every day, I think we should do something for ourselves. Um, Again, like, and I'm gonna now say that because this is one of the things that I'm passionate about, is, the content that you're consuming from the internet, from media. That's very important too. Like, what are you watching? What are you listening to? Does this feed your soul? Does this feed your mind? Is this helping you to be more connected to yourself, connected to others, right? Or does it feed the fear in you, right? Um, yeah, and just what we eat, this body's very important. So what we eat, what we drink, and exercise,
Yeah.
like really taking care of our body. I had a setback this year with like regular training, and I noticed that, like my health, first of all, went down, and second of all, it's just like I didn't feel good. Like my mind was like
Yeah.
not functioning the same way. My body was just like floppy, and I was eating horribly too, on top of everything. I don't eat like fast food or anything, but I wasn't eating a nutritious whole foods diet like I did before. And all of that just really made me like tired and heavy and miserable. I wasn't really feeling great. I was able to sustain the day-to-day life, but I can see that this is what people really should like pay more attention to. This is so important. It doesn't matter what size and shape you are, you still should move your body.
Yeah. And
So
it's that's why for me it's so simple. Like it's so intertwined. This is your self-trust. I I trust myself that I'm gonna feed my soul and my body, so I'm gonna feel great in my body.
yeah,
That is self-trust. Like the first person we should be taking care of is ourselves. And we have a tendency of
yeah,
taking care of everyone, but not
yeah,
ourselves. And this
yeah,
is where it starts. And I loved what you've mentioned about the breath, and I fully agree. Like breath is the new medicine. No, it's
Hmm.
because this is something that every living human being have in common. We all breathe,
Yeah.
and we are so used to it that we don't even realize that. And one conscious breath, just
Yeah.
it's in, and it changes. It builds this gap which we spoke about. All you need is just one conscious breath.
Yeah.
And then, for example, in Mayan tradition, before you start drinking the ceremonial cacao, you blow into it
Mm.
to give it your spirit, to animate it, because your breath is you. So you blew
Yeah.
into it to activate it, because this is the first thing that we do as humans after being born.
Hmm.
You take a breath. That's when your life starts, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and we just
Yeah.
take it for granted. And I'm so glad you mentioned it, because breath is is a new medicine. And even 5-6 minutes of box breathing, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like, it's so simple. So simple.
Yeah. Yeah. It's simple, but it takes again, um, making that time for yourself, right?
Making yourself a priority, just making a
Yeah.
decision that I am my priority, and it's not it's not it doesn't need to be 2 hours of meditation. It's
Mm.
really gonna be enough if just even 3 conscious breaths before
Yeah.
leaving the house.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all what is needed. And then we talk so much about the compound interest in finances. Like, you're gonna buy stocks and it's gonna be compound interest. But the best possible investment and the most skyrocketing compound interest is your investment in your own, I don't even want to say habits, but it's because it's one habit. It's the habit of making conscious decision, of choosing what's what I love, what my higher self, my authentic self would love.
Correct. Correct. And I think this is where we come from to the where we come to this moment where people are so disconnected from themselves that they don't know what they want. They don't know what's the best thing for them because they don't trust themselves. They don't know. Why does it happen? We constantly look towards others and we get messages from outside. Say, let's take TV, for example. People are bombarded every day with the ads telling them like this is going to save your skin, this is going to clean your clothes the best. Like, you don't you they tell you, you're being told
Yeah.
what to do. You don't have time to even think about what you want, what you need, right? We're always looking for a new fix. uh, uh, like this life is about, I don't know, getting better at something, like we stopped living. We really stopped living. We're constantly trying to do something better and better and better, faster,
Yeah.
stronger, whatever that is for people. And I just remember this book that I read. I don't know if you're familiar with Glennon Doyle, um, but in her book, she talks about, um, she had problems in her marriage and she was thinking about divorce, right? And she said that she went and she typed to Google, like, how does divorce is going to impact my children's life? Should I get divorced or not? How do I know if I should get divorced? And then she's like, why am I asking Google what's best for me? Why am I doing this? Why am I not trusting my heart, what I'm feeling? Like, I I should know myself best.
Yeah.
No one should tell me like how I should live my life. I have choices, obviously, you know. Like there's three books on a shelf. Like I get to choose the book. It doesn't tell me like read me, right? No, it's there for me to choose from. And we hear messages from the outside, and so sometimes it's hard to say no. But then we should ask ourselves, why can't I say no to that? Right? What's stopping me from saying no to that something? Yeah, right? So it's all like complicated, I think, and but simple at the same time, because it all comes back to knowing yourself,
Yeah.
trusting yourself, knowing who you are, being aware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
everything that
it's
you're doing, that you're
that we're both doing it, and like it's every single conversation I'm having. It's almost like I know I'm living a bubble, but it ensures me that what I'm doing is the right way, because that's the we cannot be more productive. And now you're not asking Google, but you're asking ChatGPT, and you're
yeah,
asking about how to take care of my own mental health. It's not going to help. It's just your mirror is an echo
yeah,
chamber. It's
yeah,
it's not, and it's a great tool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love it. It's a great tool, but it's a tool that's going to be enhancing productivity, and it's not going to help you understand yourself better. So that's why our job now as a humanity is to build this muscle of making decisions from our authentic selves. Because
yeah,
as you mentioned, the ads, but you've got the ads about the washing powder, but then majority of the ads is about, oh, your liver is not working, your kidneys is not
yeah,
working, you need to take
yeah,
this, you're sick, you're how many
yeah,
people are living in pain? And then
yeah,
I was writing there's a blog on True Me website, if anyone wants to read, go there. But I was writing this, I went for a walk, and I keep ruminating in my own head, like, how can I define True Me better? And I realized that the the relationship which we've got with others and ourselves, they were depleting in the three stages. The first step, social media. Because yeah,
mhm,
we've got ads, but then you're opening social media and there's nothing else. That everyone is telling you what you should be doing, what you should be doing. Just you're being bombarded with information of who you should be, and we
yeah,
just a dopamine
yeah,
hit. That so that's the second thing was pandemic, when especially children suffered being taught that they can build relationship online, that the online relationships are as good as the human connections,
mhm,
and you can build relationships online, which is not possible from the physiological perspective. And now the third wave is the AI, when Gen Z is millions of them are lonely and scared, and they are talking to chatbots about they're having chatbots girlfriend and boyfriends.
yeah,
And one thing is how it's impacting human connections, but the other thing is that it's only increases this disconnection which you've been mentioning with ourselves, because it's so easy to get another dopamine hit. Just, I'm gonna send another message to another chatbot, and the thing is that AI keeps gonna AI always needs to have the last word. Like, you send the message and it's always going to send you back something, so it's like
yes,
you can keep going. And so
yeah.
long story short, we've got one more question, which is, what would you
Oh,
advise to your younger self? I
my
forgot
younger
about this
self.
one.
um, I think I would tell her that everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be fine, and everything is just the way it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
So now I know that.
Mhm.
And I trust
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
message, you know.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. It was,
It was fun.
oh my God, it was
Thank you
beautiful.
so much. It
Thank
was my
you.
first live, so
It's perfect.
um, I am very grateful and thankful to you for inviting me to your space.
And thank you for joining me.
Yes,
This is perfect.
I had a really good time. Thank you.
Till the next one, and I will see you next week then.
Yes, I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.